So this week, I'm just gonna be real chill. I'm just gonna give y'all like a story time, basically. This story, the story of how I had Kaden is really fucking crazy. Like, I don't know how the fuck I got through all of that, but like I did. And I don't even know where. If I talk about the story of Kaden, I gotta start like way before I even had him. Like when I was in Ohio, it was so weird. It was like when I first started getting into like spirituality and stuff like that, and it was just so weird. It was almost like it started to creep me out, if I'm being honest. Like there was a time where I was like really, well, I wouldn't say lonely, but I was more so tired of being alone. And I just kept praying to God. I was just like, God, just like send me a person. Like I want somebody around. Like I'm tired of being by myself. But you know, you gotta watch what you pray for. Cause I mean, it wasn't a bad blessing. You know, like I love my son, so I wouldn't really say I regret praying for what I prayed for, because like I do got like a best friend for life, you know. But I was really praying for like a husband. But you know, I got a son, so I was praying, and I was just like, you know, I'm tired of being alone or whatever, because I was just always by myself. I was going to dinner by myself. I was going to my appointments by myself. Like I just do everything alone, because it was just like I didn't have nobody, and nobody I could trust for real. So yeah, I was praying for somebody, and then there was a time where I just started. It was so creepy, y'all. Like it was a bunny, right? And this bunny, I would see it every single day. Like you could ask anybody that was around during the time. Like it don't matter what time of the day it was. If I walked outside or if I went outside, I was gonna see that bunny sitting there looking at me. Like dead ass, it could be 1 a.m. in the morning, and I'm walking outside seeing this bunny looking at me. And I really used to get creeped out after a while. And even my little brother used to come to me like, why the fuck is that bunny always there? Like it was just always there staring at me. It was a baby bunny, right? And the most creepiest shit ever. Like y'all might think I'm crazy, y'all might think I'm delusional, but on my mama, everything I'm saying happened. So then I went on Instagram, and one day after seeing this bunny one day, I was like, Lord, what the fuck is wrong with this bunny? No cap. I asked God that. I said, what is wrong with this bunny? And I went on Instagram one day, and it was this creepy post. It was, well, creepy to me at the time, like, because at the time I wasn't as spiritually evolved as I am now to know that was like a spirit baby. But at the time I was like, what the fuck is going on? On my mama. So I seen this damn bunny on Instagram, and it was just like, I don't want anything from you but love. And it was just like, I just want you to take care of me and love on me and all this weird shit. And I was just looking at it like, what the fuck? And every time I started seeing that bunny, I used to be like, what the fuck? Like I just used to be like, what the fuck? That's all I could say is what the fuck. So it was just like, that was my spirit baby. That was Kaden connecting with me. I know that now, but at the time I was like creeped out. And it was just like I started to have dreams about like pregnancy and stuff. I'm like, God, like you tripping. But at the time I wasn't even having like sex, like to be all the way 100. Like at the time I was really just alone, like just really focused on my self-care journey. That was when I first got into spirituality. I was healing and all of that shit. And then it was like at that time I was also doing like, I wouldn't even say more so shadow work. I was more so kind of like starting to set boundaries and come out of like my dark night of the soul. So that's when I kind of like, I fell out with a lot of my family. I fell out with like my dad and like my sister and a lot of them. And I moved back to South Carolina. So when I moved back to South Carolina, at that time I had a big falling out with them. I'm not gonna lie, I had a huge falling out. So it was like, at that time when I moved back, I was in a bad space, like mentally, emotionally. Like I was really like hurt. Like I was really hurt. And it was like also like everybody was trying to tell me like I was a devil worshiper and I was into like black magic and all this stuff. I mean, I knew I wasn't, but it was just the fact that like coming from your family, like that should be hurting sometimes. So I don't know, I was not in like the best space when I moved back to South Carolina. And it was kind of like I think I wanted to just like fill a void. And that's when I kind of started to connect with somebody that I connected with like before I moved back to Ohio. Because, you know, like I went to high school in South Carolina. Then I moved after I like dropped out of college back to Ohio, and then I came back. So when I came back, I started to connect with somebody that I was talking to like before I left. And I mean, I didn't really like pay him no attention before I left. Like, he wasn't really like he wasn't really getting no play for me, for real. So then when I came back, it was like he started trying to talk to me again, and then it just, I don't know, one thing kind of led to another. And it was kind of like he was going through some things and I was going through some things, and I feel like we kind of just like trauma bonded together. We were both like in a bad space in our life. Like, he was kind of falling out with his parents, I was falling out with my parents. Well, not parents, more so just like my dad. It was just a lot going on type shit. So it was kind of like, that's how you trauma bond with people. Like, and I feel like a lot of people, they look at these relationships and a lot of people like regret them, or a lot of people look at them like, oh, okay, I hate this person or I hate that person. Like, me personally, like, I don't hate nobody, because I feel like everybody comes into your life for a reason. So when you get into like trauma bonds and things like that, it's because like something in that person is going to trigger something in you that you need to heal. And in my case, it triggered like my fear of like abandonment, my like fear of intimacy, a lot of those things. Because like when you get into trauma bonds, it's not really intimate, you know what I mean? So you get into connections to where there is no intimacy, or there is no real depth, so that you don't have to run from it. And so a lot of times these connections come into our life to like really show us what we need to heal. And I feel like I want to change the narrative on like karmic connections, because like I don't regret anything that I've been through in my past, even though like I went through some shit in that relationship. I don't regret it, and I don't like hate nobody for it, because it taught me a lot about myself that I needed to heal. It taught me like a lot of boundaries that I needed to put up. And it also like made me come out of this space of where like I trusted my intuition. I knew I had an intuition. I know I'm psychic, but I used to like need proof for my intuition, for everything that came in my intuition. I needed proof, or I needed something tangible. And that relationship really showed me to like stop looking for proof and just take your intuition for what it is, because people will play on you until they can't no more. And if you never get proof, then you just got somebody continuously playing in your face, because, you know, you ain't follow your intuition. So yeah, I started having dreams when I moved back and we started connecting or whatever. I started having dreams, and there was actually a time like I was, but you know what, like no cap, before I even moved to South Carolina, the dude, like, we was texting before, and he told me like no cap, he told me like I was gonna have his son, but I used to be like, you're tripping. And that was another reason like I didn't let him touch me. I'm crying, I'm dead as fuck, but for real, I was like, you're fucking tripping. Like, I don't want no baby. Like, no, I was so, this shit caught me, y'all, so by surprise so fucking much. Like, I'd be like, it's crazy. So it was one time we was actually laying next to each other, and I woke up and I was like, I just had a dream that I was pregnant. And I swear to God, like, I had so many dreams. I just kept having dreams, and it was just like freaking me out. So then that's when I just started like falling back. Like, I was like like I was really getting spooked out. But it was a particular dream I had, and I think it was like 2 days before I actually found out that I was pregnant. And in the dream, it was so weird, but I only remember like bits and pieces of it. I actually write about it in my book too. But it was like, it was this baby, and the baby had like the avatar symbol on his forehead, and it was like a village around the baby. And it was like, they were all like, we've been waiting on you, we've been waiting on you. And then it was like these like ascendant masters came down. It was so crazy. Like, when I tell y'all, I woke up and this dream felt so real. Like, when I woke up, I was like, what the fuck? Because it felt like I was like really there. Like, it was so fucking vivid, and like Y'all, my whole pregnancy was so spiritual. I had so many dreams. I don't remember all of them. And then when I found out I was pregnant, it was a time. He didn't really want a baby, and I was gonna actually, I'm getting deep with y'all, but I was gonna actually have an abortion because he didn't want a child. But it was like, not too long after, it was like he blocked me on everything. Like, I was blocked on like everything. Like, I couldn't get in touch with him. So it was just like, I felt like if I'm making this decision by myself, I might as well do what I want to do. And it was like, I didn't really want to abort my baby because like all the dreams I had and all the downloads I was getting, it was just like, I knew God did not want me to abort this baby. Like, I knew God wanted me to have this baby because this baby has a purpose. Like, you know what I mean? And at that time, I knew what a spirit baby was. Like, I started to get so many downloads and shit. So it was just like, I knew that this baby had a purpose. So it was like, I can't do it. I couldn't do it. So it was just like, if I'm making a decision by myself, either way, I'm paying for shit by myself. I'm gonna have to go by myself. I might as well do what the fuck I want. You feel me? So I just had my baby. And I would say he came back at like around like 4 months, like when I was like 4 months pregnant or whatever. And he was around for the doctor's appointments and shit like that. But after a while, that's when they came to me and was like, yeah, your baby has cleft lip and palate, or we feel like your baby, or we believe that your baby might have cleft lip and palate, but we're gonna have to send you to like a specialist. Hold on. Yeah, but they were like, we're gonna have to send you to a specialist, to really check and see. So that's when I started going to like the high risk doctor and a high risk specialist and stuff like that. So that's when I went downtown or whatever. So once I started going to them and they did my, like, I had to get like an MRI and all of that stuff, they came back and it was like, yeah, it's confirmed he's gonna have like cleft lip and palate. So of course they started telling me like about the procedures and all of that stuff. So basically I found out he would have to get like 2 surgeries at least to fix his lip, and the palate is basically like up under his lip. So like that's kind of like the top of it's like your gums kind of. So it's just basically kind of like a split in your lip. It's kind of like they explain it like when babies are developing, they explain it kind of like a zipper, and it's like the zipper doesn't go all the way up. And yeah, so that's when I first found out about that. And then after a while they came back and it was like, okay, your baby has like, it was something with the heart, like the lining of the heart, it wasn't thick enough. So then there was that. Then he was like, his growth, I don't know, they were like he wasn't developing as fast as he should. And then it was like his brain, they were like the spinal fluid in his brain was like down. And like, it was so many problems and issues coming up. I was like, what the fuck, y'all? Like, I was like, ain't no way, because like, mind you, it's my first time being a mom. I didn't really know about like all this shit. Like, I was just so confused. And like, at that time when I was pregnant, I would say that I was just trying to keep strong for my baby, because I didn't like my baby could feel everything that I was feeling. So as much as I like wanted to cry or just like be like fuck this shit, it was just like I gotta stay in good spirits. Like, I gotta stay strong because my baby is feeling everything that I'm feeling, you know. So yeah, after that, so then that's when, you know, they could just continue to monitor everything. Basically, they couldn't really like do anything or really know anything like for a solid fact until he was born. So it was just all really like a guessing game until it was time for me to actually have my baby. So in May, I had my baby shower, and then like maybe like a week after my baby shower, they induced me. And after they induced me, I went to the hospital or whatever, and I had my baby. That was such like a trying time in my life. We were in the NICU for like 2.5 weeks, and that was, you know, I was still recovering from like having my baby, but I was like, them first 2 or 3 days I was like up and down, like from floor to floor, like checking on my baby and just like still recovering myself, getting my meds and stuff like that. It was really a trying time, that's all I can say. my baby couldn't leave because they had to run so many tests on him to make sure that he was actually like healthy enough to leave. Like, they had to run scans on his brain and his heart. He had to get like feeding minimum. So I was like trying really hard to help him like eat and learn to eat so that he can go home and stuff. It was a lot. It was really a lot. Like, that was a time, I'm trying not to cry. That was a time that I was really like at my lowest. I remember the worst part about it, I feel like, was when the worst time I remember, I had came to the hospital to see my baby, and I was there like 24/7, 365, you feel me, about my baby. But it was a time where like my mom came to the hospital. She gave me like a break. So when she went home, while she was at the hospital, I went home, took a shower or whatever. So I came back to the hospital and I'm going to see my baby, and it was like they would not let me in the room because I didn't have no badge. And it was like, it's not that big of a deal when you look at it, but when you really look at it and it's like you've been here for 2.5 or 2 weeks or whatever, and it's like you just want to see your baby. I was so frustrated. Like, I was so fucking frustrated with life at that moment. Like, by the time I got to see my baby, I just went in the bathroom and cried. Like, I was in the bathroom just like bawling my eyes out, and I'm just like, God, why? Like, I'm like, everybody else can go home with their baby healthy. They just get to walk out and go live their life, and it's like I'm sitting here stuck by myself with my baby, and I can't even go see him and all that. I was so sad and depressed at this moment. Like, I was so sad, but all I could do was just like cry and vent to God, because when I'm at my lowest, that's who I vent to. I vent to God, because he always like comes through for me, and he always handles it, and he did just that. Like, the next morning, I think it was the next morning after that, if not, it was like maybe a day or two after. But right after, that's when the doctors came in, and it was like, oh, he's cleared for this. His brain was cleared, his MRI for his lungs was cleared, because it wasn't even just his brain, his heart. It was his brain, his heart, his lungs, his kidneys, his breathing, his feeding. It was so many things like that he had to pass in order to leave, because he was like, and then he was underweight. It was just a lot. I'm telling y'all, it was a lot. He had to have like probably like 10 doctors. So all of them cleared him to go home. Like, not too long after I was praying to God, all of them cleared him to come home. So he went home, and my baby's so strong, because y'all, he went through so much in them 2.5 weeks. Like, I can't even stress it. Like, and when I be looking back on it, it's like, damn, like, my baby came from breathing tubes, feeding tubes, hooked them on all types of different machines, and they all cleared him to come home. Like, I just can't, like, I can't just move past that. I'm sorry, but like, it was the fact that they all cleared him to come home. I cried that day too. Like, I was really crying, and I was like, God, like, I love you so much. Like, yeah, I'm trying not to be so sad, but like, when I tell y'all, my heart was so happy. I was so ready to go home and just take my baby home. So yeah, finally he went home. Not too long after that, I mean, I was going through like a lot of drama, like with his dad or whatever, but you know, that's said to come with like karmic connections. Like, I knew, but honestly, after like I was in a hospital, at that point it was kind of like I lost all respect for the connection, all really like love for the connection, because I was really at my lowest at that time, and it was like I was by myself. So it's like, I feel like if you can't like really respect or be there for your child, like, the fuck am I, you know what I mean? Like, so after that, I kind of like lost all respect for it. And I feel like when it comes to like karmic connections or trauma bonds, like, there is gonna be like a moment or like a pivotal moment that's gonna turn you off. So I feel like I can't, when you got like friends or somebody or anything like that's going through that, I feel like those connections are needed. It's needed to trigger you into healing. It's needed to trigger you into like learning more about yourself, more about the world, more about the people around you, because you're only gonna attract what you are, you know. So obviously, if I attracted you, it was something in me that needed to be healed, something that I needed to address that allowed you to come in my space, you know what I mean? So I feel like, yeah. And after that, it was really like dead after that. It was really like dead after I had my baby. And I'm trying to think what happened next. That's when Kaden started having seizures. So yeah, I stopped talking to his dad, and then not too long after that, maybe like a month or two later, he started having seizures. I took him to the hospital. We didn't know what he was doing at first. Like, it was just like he was at home, and it was like his body, he would just get real stiff. Like, his body would get super stiff, and he would start jerking. And I was like, and it honestly like scared me. It was scaring my mom, and my mom like brought it to my attention. Like, I seen it, but I didn't know what a seizure looked like. I didn't know what that was. Like, I thought he was just like, like, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. So I seen it once, and then when my mom brought it up to me, I was like, a seizure? I was like, that's what that is? Like, that shit scared the fuck out of me. For real, I was like, that's what that is? Like, wait. So she was like, yeah, let's just see if he do it again. And then he did it again, and I was like, okay, I'm taking him to the hospital. So I took him to the hospital, and it was like they had to monitor him overnight to make sure that's really what was happening. So they had him hooked up to, like, I think they called it EEGs, and it was just like monitoring like his brain waves and his brain signals and like what they were doing. And then it was a time, I'm trying to think what happened. He had probably like 3 or 4 seizures over that night, but it was one that was really long, and it scared the fuck out of me. Like, I could cry just thinking about it. I could cry just thinking about it, bro. Like, I was sitting there, he was knocked out. Like, I was just sitting there on my phone. He's sitting there knocked out. I had already just fed him, put him to sleep, and I was there by myself again, bro. And he was asleep, and out of nowhere, I just heard, like, it was like he started shaking so much, y'all. Like, I was so scared. And all I could do was, like, I ran to turn the, to hit the button for the nurses to come. And when I hit the button, it was like, you know how you watch the movies and they be like code red and like all these doctors swarm in and all these nurses swarm in? That's how it was. It was like so many doctors and so many nurses. Like, I was like, I didn't know what to do. Like, I was really like in shock. And the nurse looked at me and she was just like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, but I didn't realize like how much in shock I was in, and like how much I probably like scared I probably looked until she said that. And I was like, damn, like, I gotta snap back to reality. Like, this is my baby. So, I was just standing there in the corner waiting for them to like basically be done. But that seizure was probably like 3 minutes. I don't know. And I know they got it recorded though. And they was like, yeah, these are definitely seizures. So yeah, then they had to put him on the the medicine for his seizures or whatever. Child. So then, after that, I got some good news though. After that, he had to, he didn't have to see his heart doctor. I think it was his heart, or was it his brain? It was his brain. He didn't have to see neurology as much anymore. His spinal fluid numbers started to regulate. And what's it called? His brain, his seizures, like, he didn't have any more seizures after that time, after he had got on that medicine. So yeah, he didn't have to see neurology as much as he did, because at that point, honestly, like, y'all, I was at appointments like maybe like 3-4 appointments a week. Like, we were at the doctor's like clockwork. Like, that was our second fucking home. It's crazy. I know the damn hospital like the back of my hand at this point. That's how much we be there. Like, that's how much we be at the doctors and shit. Like, it's ridiculous. So that might not seem as much as a big win, but to me, I was happy as fuck to like drop one doctor at least. So we didn't have to see neurology no more a little bit longer after that. Well, like every 6 months type shit. And then after that, he also got cleared for his kidneys. He did have to get surgery for what them shit called? Hernia. He had a hernia. So he got a surgery for his hernia. And then they cleared him for his kidneys. He didn't have to see the kidney doctor as much no more. His hernia surgery went smooth. Like, that shit was like light work. It was easy. It was real smooth. And then his next surgery, he had got his lip fixed. Yeah. The first surgery, they put it together. So the first surgery, it's kind of like he has bilateral cleft lips. So it's like he got the slits on both sides. And that first surgery, they basically just like tighten the spaces up. And that surgery was cool. It wasn't that bad. He recovered really quickly. He had to wear like arm restraints, and I had to like clean it and stuff. It was a little scary. Like when they be in recovery, like right after the surgery, it's a little scary. Like it be hurting my heart a little bit because his face be like bloody, and it's like he be in so much pain. But after about 2 days, he recovered. So that was his first surgery. And then his second surgery, they basically fixed his lip all the way. And that wasn't too long ago. And that surgery went good as well. Recovery was a little bit of a hassle, but he recovered still good. And yeah, now he got one more surgery. He got to do his palate, and then he should be good. His heart, they said it kind of went down a little bit, but it was still like normal kind of or whatever. So they're still monitoring his heart. Right now I'm at the point where I'm getting ready to kind of like take him off of all his medicine, and I'm really getting ready to like get him into like an alkaline diet and try like some of Dr. Sebi's methods on him, so that he can really just get away from like pharmaceutical medicines, because I don't want him on all that damn medicine. Like he's already on like 3-4 medicines. Like he's not even one yet. So I just couldn't imagine how much they're gonna pile on top of that shit, and I'm not for it. So pretty soon, you know, I'm gonna get into my herbs and shit like that, and I'm gonna just keep y'all on the journey. But he's doing really fucking good, and one thing about it, God got his hand on him. And it's like everything always works out. It don't matter what it is, it always works out. So I just be trusting God. For real, y'all. I just be trusting God. Because as a new mother, this shit took me like for a loop. Okay? But it's like, one thing about it, I don't really regret or like get too down about anything I go through, because I know like everything be for a reason. Like every single thing that I went through, I was able to minister to somebody else and help them through what they're going through. So like, even though he had all these health issues and I had to deal with all these problems, I made it through. And it's like, now I can motivate somebody else to know, like, it don't matter what the doctors say. Like, as long as you have faith in God, as long as you keep your eyes on God, like that shit gonna work out. You feel me? So yeah, forever Kaden Strong, and that's just always gonna be. Flat out. I'll see y'all later.